What up? What up? What up? What's up, people? What's happening? Happy Thursday to you. My name is Marcus Thomas. Welcome to the Pro Fan Talk. Thank you for joining me. Dad, going already. My pops, number one out the limo. What's going on, Dad? Chris Kaufman, number two out the limo. Sean Young, as usual. Number three out the limo. TK, my guy. What's going on, fam? My grandson TK finally back home. You are TK, you home now? You safe? Edward McDowell, no Diaz. What's going on? So many people up bright and early. Happy to see my pops. Number one out the limo. I appreciate that, Daddy. But what's going on? Glad to see TK, man. Glad you home and safe. Glad you and the fiance are now safe. But big shout out to all them people down in Florida, man. It's good, man. Glad to hear that, bro. Prince Polito, yo, shout out from North Philly, Eagles Nation. I see you. I see you, North Philly. What's going on, man? Good day. Eagles are 3-0 going into week 4. I got my hometown Bengals on Amazon going Thursday night against the Dolphins. The Cheetah versus the Bengals. That ought to be a good game. Let's see if Joe Cool can get it together. Edward McDowell is Vince. I've signed up under a real name, Edward. I see you, Vince. I appreciate you, brother, as always, man. Vince, I got to get you on the show, bro. We're gonna figure out something, man. Especially now that I got a YouTube channel. We're gonna definitely do that, man. Pete, what's going on? Evening, fam. Yep. Start popping up fast. Yeah, because everybody want to see this game. You see me over here rubbernecking. I got the TV right here. So, Pete, you agree with the poll right off the bat? You think Jalen Hurts is going to have more passing yards than Trevor Lawrence? I think so. So, we'll see it most definitely. Kerry, what's going on, man? What is happening up in Reading, PA? I see you. Active night tonight. I appreciate it, man. Make sure y'all, when we get done with this tonight, make sure you go tell your friends and invite somebody, man. Let's continue to make this thing grow. So, but man, did our boys put a whooping on Washington or what? That was oof. Man, they just you know what that reminded me of? That was like any of y'all old school cats know back in the day when they used to have the real Looney Tunes and Bugs Bunny. Actually, this was the original Buster Bunny, not from the Looney Tunes cartoon. This was not from Tiny Toons, but when Bugs Bunny was fighting Pete Puma, and Bugs would always trick him into say how many lumps did he want, how many lumps of tea did he want, and he would say like 3 or 4, and Bugs would bust him upside the head, and he would get 3 or 4 like Flintstone lumps upside his head. That's what the Washington Commanders got last weekend, except it wasn't 3 or 4 lumps. They got 9 lumps on defense. We sacked that joker 9 times. That was ridiculous. And I said it, that offensive line was garbage. We put it on them. And it's funny because their defensive line is decent. They got some players on defensive line, not to mention Chase Young has been out for forever. So if Chase Young comes back, the second time we play him, that's going to be a different game. So we got to have our ducks in a row. Just like even looking back on game 1, the way we beat Detroit, now you can't say Detroit was a lucky win or a bad win. Detroit is a good team. Detroit is legit. They're going to win some games this year. So I go back and look at that game, and I see, we struggled, and you guys have heard me in the past weeks use that term system shock. That was a system shock game because we didn't have film. Now we're going into week 4. You guys have heard me say this a lot. I do not really have any opinion on the makeup of our team until after week 4. So after this game. The reason why I say that, you guys already know. You got to give time for the other teams to get film on you. Once they get film on you, then they can game plan you. Once they game plan you, your success or failure means more. Because now they had an opportune time to really study you, to know what you do on third and mid or third and short or third and long. Now they can game plan you. Now they know when you set up in that package and you got jumbo and two tight ends, they know what you're running most of the time. That's why it matters when you get to game 4. Everybody has film on you. Nobody would have picked the Eagles to be 3-0 right now with the legitimate potential to go 4-0. Nobody. I wouldn't have. So, but if we rewind, one of the things I'm doing next week, I'm telling you now, tune in, bring your friends. I'm hitting them. I'm looking up all them receipts. All them receipts. I'm going back and I'm finding everybody that talks smack on Jalen Hurts for whatever reason. And here's the fun part. All of the smack they were talking, he couldn't throw. He was inaccurate. He wasn't that dude. The reality of it is all of those criticisms were valid. All of those criticisms were valid. Me personally, I was looking at Jalen Hurts and I was looking at what was going on the inside, his makeup, his mental makeup. I already knew he was good enough. I never agreed with the people that started the stuff about him having a bad arm, a noodle arm, and all that kind of stuff. Because guess what? They said the same thing about Tua. Look what he's doing. It's amazing what you do when you get weapons. But I believe, and I've said this before, after that game in Tampa last year, the playoff games, and after he got embarrassed on national TV, they said he couldn't read defenses. On national TV. We're going to get into Mike Caldwell in a minute because I believe he was the one that said it. He's the defensive coordinator for the Jags now, but he was coaching on that team. He was a defensive coach on that team last year. So we're going to see some familiar looks from Jaguars defense. So Philly Irish, too many weapons. Hey, that's a good problem to have, man. That's a good problem to have. And not for nothing, man. Another shout out to Howie because nobody has talked about this all week. And I remember saying this weeks ago when we got him, and I looked up some film on him. Cal Katera can ball. He's been out for a while, but that kid's got size. That kid's got speed. I can't even call him a kid no more because I think he's like 24. I think him and AJ are the same age. So he's not a kid, but that dude can ball. And he's Goddard-esque. So now we got 2 in the chamber at tight end. We got 3 in the chamber at running back. And we got like 5 in the chamber at wide receiver. And we got QB number 1. Stelios, how much more time you need? And what does he need to do? More time is what guys like Jalen Hurts don't get because he's not a number 1 pick. We'll get into this a little bit more. I got a couple slides for you comparing Jalen Hurts and Trevor Lawrence because I said this before. You guys have been sticking with me. You know, you've heard me say this before. What would have happened if last year, if Trevor Lawrence had Jalen Hurts' stats? Trevor Lawrence would have went to the Pro Bowl. He'd have been voted to the Pro Bowl first team. He wouldn't have been an alternate. He'd have been going to the Pro Bowl. What's up, Jake? Jaguars defense has not faced a quarterback like Jalen Hurts that can hit defensive running and passing the ball. You are correct. What's up, Chris? My grandson in the building. Jake, you right on the money, man. You right on the money. I'm not going to take nothing away from Jacksonville for beating the Chargers. I ain't going to do that. You play who's on the field. Whatever their issues are, that's their issues. However, comma, do you think that the Jaguars win that game if Justin Herbert's 100%? If Bosa doesn't go out in the first quarter, do the Jaguars win that game? Honestly, I don't think so. My money would still be on Herbert. Herbert shouldn't have been in that game. Herbert should not have been in that game. Jason Bennett, what's going on, fam? Sarah, the granddaughter's in the building. Justin Herbert should not have been in that game. He was, and that's, you do want to tough it out for your team, but that joker's one hit away from disaster. And the one thing about ribs, when your ribs get barbecued like that, that's a tough way to go. I've never had serious rib injuries like that I can remember. Being a running back, I would, people would step on my hands and my fingers, twist my ankles and stuff like that. But rib injury, I had a bone bruise in my shoulder one time. I do remember when I was still in high school at Princeton, I remember catching a deep swing pattern and my eyes was on the ball. So I'm looking up here and the safety came over and just lit me up. And literally it felt like the sensation was as if I had a hole in my chest. I literally felt the breeze blowing through my chest. That's what it felt like. Didn't break nothing, crack nothing, but I just, that stuck with me for about a quarter before I could shake it off and get back. But now you got damage. So is it ribs? Is it cartilage? Is it just deep bruises? Like anytime you're in a situation where it hurts for you to breathe, that's a problem. And you a quarterback, everything you do comes from your core. Everything. You throw, you back up, you take the snap, you step into it, you got to duck, go left or right. Everything you do, calling the play, everything you do comes from your core. So if your ribs are jacked up, you're jacked up. And he was far from 100%. But having said that, you play the people that's on the field. If they trot him out here and they hurt, so be it. So be it. So props to them for winning, but we know what the deal is. So, I mean, this will be a good game. But I don't believe it's going to be as close as everybody thinks it's going to be. I think we have established ourselves and as a solid team on both sides of the ball. And more importantly, you can't just take the run away from Jalen Hurts. You can't do that no more. You can't do that no more. Jalen Hurts is an established passer now, period. Jalen Hurts only had, 20 yards rushing against Washington? He was slinging the ball around. Jalen should have had a couple of not bad balls, but balls that weren't on target. Jalen should have had over 400 yards passing. There was one that passed to A.J. Brown that A.J. Brown went up and got. But if Jalen Hurts puts just a little bit more mustard on that, A.J. Brown scores. That's about 30 more yards. There was a couple of passes that, he went long and just missed it. But he's taking those shots. He's taking those deep shots. And I still say this, I'm glad to see that everybody knows that he can take the top off. But long ball is still overrated, man. You saw what happened when he threw that swing pass left to Dallas Goedert. You get you get the ball in the hands of your playmakers, let them make plays. That's how you score points. That deep bomb to Devontae Smith was gorgeous. He went up, he climbed that ladder, caught that ball at the highest point, and that DB couldn't do a daggone thing. That throw and catch was gorgeous. You can tell how much work they put in. But did you see when he ran the mid? He made a mid slant. He was about 10 yards deep. Jalen hit him with the slant, and he turned it into about a 30, 35-yard gain because he took off on him. That's how you make plays. Now, here's the question. Are they going to try to spy somebody on him? Can't do that because we can eat you apart. We can take you apart, eat you up. What's up, sis? Twin sister in the house. So what I mean when I said it last week and the week before that, you got to pick your poison. You have to pick your poison. You don't know if you go Goddard, you got Devontae. If you go Devontae, you got AJ. If you go AJ, you go back to Goddard. Not to mention our running backs are running the ball well. One of these games, Miles Sanders is just going to go nuts. I'm still not crazy about the rotation. I'm like, lead a boy in. Gainwell is not a tackle to tackle. If you want to put Gainwell in, put him in, get some screen action going, but Miles can run a screen too. So, Jason, who's the D coordinator for Jacksonville? The defensive coordinator is Mike Caldwell. Oddly enough, I played against Mike Caldwell in college. Mike went to Middle Tennessee. I was at Eastern Kentucky, so they were in our conference. We used to battle all the time. Mike was good. Mike played here for the Eagles. So now he was the defensive coordinator for the Jaguars, but he was also a defensive coach for Tampa Bay last year. So during that he can't see game, Caldwell was right there on the sideline. So I'm looking for him to call up some stuff from last year. He's going to call up some of the same looks. However, our QB1 is ready for that. I was so happy last week versus the Commanders. He didn't run a lot. He scrambled a couple. He only got 20. He didn't break nothing off long. So for the most part, Washington can say they kept Jalen Hurts contained. The problem was he was eating them alive across the middle. They couldn't stop Jalen Hurts, or they couldn't stop Devontae Smith. They couldn't stop A.J. Brown, and they couldn't stop Dallas Goedert. And Quez almost got him for one. So pick your poison. Same thing with him. My film study, their secondary, they got a young physical secondary. But I don't think they can run with our wide receivers. That's just my opinion. I'm expecting AJ or Devontae to run away from one of them and give us an opportunity, and we got to take advantage of that. I don't see lockdown corners. That's why I go back to what Caldwell's going to do. What is he? Is he going to try to? He's definitely going to try to disguise coverages. He's definitely going to try to confuse Hurts. You already know that. They're going to disguise, late blitz, twist blitz, stuff like that. They're going to try to throw some different looks and do some late shifts and all of that kind of stuff. Charles, you absolute Chris. I'm with you, dude. I like Seal's show. I watch him a lot. Dan Sileo. But you're absolutely right. Everything that he said that Hurts couldn't do, Hurts is proving him wrong. But guess what? I'm not gonna hate on Seals for that opinion, because a lot of people had that opinion and it was valid. Again, the proof is in the pudding. You were not wrong if your opinion was Jalen Hurts is not the guy. He doesn't throw the ball good enough. He doesn't have good anticipation, and he doesn't deliver the ball on time and on target. Those were valid points, valid criticisms. Everything was true. But for me, I saw enough to say it's in there. You just got to give him the time to develop. And I don't understand. Well, I do kind of understand. In my opinion, it is a little bit. You got, because he's not your typical QB, because he's not 6'5", because he played at Oklahoma and Alabama, and he was mostly a running style quarterback. Never mind that he won at every level. All of the stuff that people laud you for, it's almost like it's a negative if you don't meet the physical metrics of what teams believe their quarterback should look like. Everybody wants the metrics of a Trevor Lawrence. 6'3", 6'4", 6'5". Really good arm. Mobile, can move in and out of the pocket. Not a fast guy, but fast enough to get out of his own way. And he went to a big school, won a national title as a freshman. He's got all of the boxes checked. But you can't, if you don't meet all of those metrics, they don't want to give you that. They don't want to give you that. And it's like they don't want to give young quarterbacks, especially if you're a mobile quarterback, it's like they don't want to give you the time of day. I got all the love in the world for Lamar Jackson, because I will never forget. I watched Lamar Jackson. I went to Eastern Kentucky, so I'm watching Louisville and I'm watching UK. But I remember when he was still at Louisville, and he had some ridiculous game where he rushed for like 200-something yards and all of that kind of stuff. And the next week in the media, the only thing they talked about was his running ability and how that would not translate to the next level. That's all they talked about. He's going to be a great wide receiver. He's not going to play quarterback. And this is before he even went to the combine. That whole thing, they were already telling him that he couldn't do it. And I remember watching that next game, and he went out and threw for like 300-something yards and 5 touchdowns. So he silenced all of that stuff up. But they still didn't want to give it to him. And then he had all that trouble like, listen, you either draft me or quarterback, I'm not playing wide receiver. I'm not doing that. And he stuck to his guns, and good for him. But he's been putting in the work. League MVP, he's putting in the work. On course to probably do it again if he stays healthy. Chris, I'm with you, dude. The only metric that matters is dubs. Yes, sir. That's what it comes down to. Yeah, Vince. He got more touchdowns than 30 teams. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. And I've been watching the media heads and Shannon Sharp and all of them, and it's like Ravens got a problem because they should have paid him what he wanted from the beginning, because now that price is steadily going up. Johnny, I don't know if they want black quarterbacks to fail, but they definitely get a shorter leash. That's facts. They definitely get a shorter leash. I want to see if they're going to stick with the kid in Chicago. That kid lit it up at O State. You can't deny what he did. He's got a strong arm, but at the same time, you got to give him time. Period. Trey Lance, you got to give him time. You got to let him. I feel bad for Lance because he was in a situation with the 49ers. This was his year to take his lumps. He was going to take his lumps. Next year, he would have been better for it. For people that thought that Trey Lance was going to take the 49ers to the playoffs, you were pipe dreaming. So You got to let these young guys take their lumps. Period. And I'm glad that we've got that quarterback that did what he had to do in the offseason. And everybody's heard that meme, I understood the assignment. Jalen Hurts knew exactly what he needed to work on. His passing accuracy, his passing anticipation, staying in the pocket, delivering the ball on time, and throwing to his left. He's checked off all of those boxes. All of those boxes. So now, when teams bottle him up, you go ahead and do that. A.J. Brown cross the middle. Devontae Smith deep. Dallas Goedert screen. Miles Sanders wide. Kenny Gainwell dig. Pick your poison. You can't just take away the run and think he can't beat you now. He put in the work. He went to the guy out in California. He got away from Philadelphia, so nobody's not down his throat. What are you doing? You got to get away from it sometimes. And props to the Eagles to let the kid grow and giving him some weapons. Vince, I'm with you. Lance is in trouble because now he's coming back from a broken ankle. So now he's got to get back to where he was physically, and he's got to get back to where he was mentally. Whenever you break something, it's rough. One of the things I wanted to talk about, because I added it, I mentioned it a couple times on my social. Everybody goes nuts over these daggone power rankings. I hate that crap. And it's just me as a coach, being in that situation and trying to tell people what somebody is ranked has no bearing on what they're going to do on the field. None. Power rankings is for fantasy football and the media heads to talk about I know more than you, all of that crap. It don't mean jack. All of these rankings doesn't mean anything. The only thing it means is if your power ranking is up, that means you're playing your team is playing good football. That's it. But everybody gets caught up in that, like that's supposed to guarantee you a win, and I'm like, nah. So if you saw any of my social posts this week, I was like, get rid of all of that stuff. Concentrate on the stuff that Kelsey was saying. Like, we ain't done an effing thing. And every week we got to do it again. Like, take all of them rankings off the table. They don't mean nothing. Everybody's ranked, and that's why they got those little green arrows up or red arrows down. Somebody's going to lose this week. So the rankings don't mean anything. The only thing that matters is who walks into your stadium on Sunday. That's the only thing that matters. Power rankings have nothing to do with whether the Jacksonville secondary can cover our wide receivers. Nothing. Power rankings have nothing to do with whether or not Jalen Hurts is going to sit in the pocket and deliver the ball on time. Or is he going to take off for 30? Doesn't mean a thing. What's up, Brian Daly? All good, my guy. So all of that stuff is nonsense. We put too much stock into it. That's why you go out and play the game, man. That's why you go out and play the game. Now, the one thing I mentioned earlier, everybody's looking at Justin and Trevor. If Trevor had his stats from last year, everybody would think Trevor was all world. He's ahead of the curve. He's putting up good numbers. His passing is going to get better. Just let him, it would have been much, much better. I dare even say that he would definitely have been further along if Doug Pederson would have been there instead of Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer was a train wreck. So it's amazing what happens when you get a good coach. It's amazing what happens when you get weapons. So check this out. Very comparable. Very comparable for this year. But here's the funny thing. Listening to, again, the fair criticism of Jalen Hurts last year, you wouldn't have thought this in a million years. Myself being a Jalen Hurts apologist, being pro Jalen Hurts since day one, what did I say a couple weeks ago? What did I say when I was on Sports Take with Barrett Brooks and Derek Gunn and Rob Ellis? I don't need Jalen Hurts to be great. I just need him to be good and consistent. Well, guess what? Now he's being great. That's gravy. We didn't expect that. That's above and beyond. That's getting your birthday money and somebody already bought the PlayStation for you. That's above and beyond. So Jalen is putting himself in a whole nother category that nobody expected. Even the Jalen Hurts fan club, which I was a part of. Nobody expected Jalen to be balling like this. I expected him to be better. I didn't expect him to be this good. Pleasantly surprised. Again, he put in the work. You got a 67.3 passing percentage. And it probably would have been higher if it not for the interception that he threw in Minnesota. That wasn't his fault. And a couple of those long balls connected, we put them at 70%. Way over expectation. Way over expectation. That's a good problem to have. Johnny Blade, what you talking about? Oh, they broke out the black and whites tonight. I remember hearing about that. I was reading about that. I've been talking to my homies at home. And, yeah, I like those unis. I definitely like them. I have to get me one of those black and white hats. That's dope. But we're going to see Jalen Hurts right now is playing at a high and consistent level. I do think this is going to be a challenge. This game is going to be a challenge. But is this more of a challenge than Kirk Cousins was with Minnesota? Does Jacksonville have a Justin Jefferson type wide receiver? No. Is Jaguars' offensive line that good? I don't think so. I will take our defensive line over their offensive line. I think we match up better in that regard. So if I put Jacksonville and Minnesota head to head, I'm picking Minnesota. Kirk Cousins can still play, so I'm not. I got my money on the Eagles. I don't see Jacksonville beating us. Our skill positions are better. They do have a good running game. But when I was watching film, their offensive line does not get much movement off the ball. And what that tells me is they're going to try to position them and leave some lanes and let the running back be a running back. That means you line up 7 deep. Trevor's going to try to get Eddie in the ball as deep as possible. And he's just going to read. The hole is the 4 hole or the 6 hole, but you're going to read what the defense gives you. If the hole pops up and you cut it back, if that's where the hole is, that's where you go. Go back and look at go back and look at Terrell Davis. That's how they run the ball. Johnny, I'm not going to disagree with you, but it's way too early for MVP Don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe, man. Don't fall for that nonsense that they talking on the media. As soon as they get a little bit of something, they want to run with it. We got too many games. Let me say it like this, though. If he's still at this level, if Jalen Hurts is still healthy and at this level in week 8, when we're going into our bye week, okay. In my opinion, cool. Because that means you're being consistent, and now you're a front runner, or these are the guys in that conversation. And as far as I'm concerned, after everything we went through last year about he can't play, he can't throw this, that, and the other, he's not the guy, he's not a franchise quarterback, to even be considered legitimately in that conversation. Here are the top 5 guys that we're looking at for the league MVP. To even be in that conversation is a plus. Hey, Johnny, go look at Kirk Cousins' stats. You're not wrong, but Kirk Cousins puts up some numbers. Don't get it twisted. Justin Jefferson can't be Justin Jefferson without Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins can sling that rock. For whatever reason, we just seem to get the best of him, and I don't know, he has those moments the same way we was talking smack about Carson Wentz. You know he's got the skills, but he just has those moments, and you kind of scratch your head. But Kirk Cousins puts up numbers. So give him his props. Yeah, offensive player of the month. I just want Jalen Hurts to be offensive player of the game versus the Jaguars. I'm sorry, dude. I'm in the micro right now. I'm not looking too far ahead. I just need us to handle our business this week. I just want him to handle his business this week. That's it. There's a thing I used to say when I was still coaching the Stallions, GT Stallions. When Glenn would let me do the pregame speech, I would always tell the kids, like, listen, you know what you need to do. I need you to win every play. If you lose one, here's another play coming. Win that play. And at the end of the game, leave no doubt who the better team was. And that's what the Eagles continue to play, one play at a time. I see you, Chris. One play at a time. One player, if they beat you, you come back and get them the next play. They're going to win something. They get paid too. But if you take care of your business, we are the better team. When I was on the shows, when I was on First Take, they were asking about who do they see the best team in the NFC. And I said, I believe the Cowboys were a better team. I'm sorry, the Eagles were a better team, but the Cowboys had the better quarterback. I put that addendum in there. I'm changing that. We have the better quarterback. So, and don't get it twisted. I think the Cowboys are a better team with Cooper Rush than Dak Prescott. For whatever reason, Cooper's one of them dudes like Tom Brady. He's been sitting back in the cut, and one of those guys that absorbs everything, been watching film for 3 years, so he knows his stuff. And lo and behold, he's a pretty good quarterback. And they just seem like the car's moving smoothly when Cooper Rush is behind center. So don't get it twisted. We're gonna have a game, and not the you still got the linebacker back there, Micah Parsons. Vander Esch is still back there. Pollard and Zeke are still back there. So they still got some horses, but I still say we are the better team, and now we have the better quarterback. So we just got to handle our business. Let me see. Here's one. Make that big. So here's what, like, the versus Washington and who did Jaguars play last week? Oh, I'm sorry, the Chargers. So this is their passing charts. And I love how this shows how they are spreading the ball around. And I love it. Again, Jalen Hurts is going to his left where they said he couldn't go. I love to see that. 2 touchdowns to the left. We got that screen for Goddard, and that 10-yard pass was, I believe that was the Devontae Smith one. And then the A.J. Brown one was to the right. But look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 12 to 7. 12 passes to the left, 7 passes to the right. And interestingly enough, not much in the middle of the field. We took the quarters. They gave us the quarters, so we took them. We had 1, 2, 3. We had 3 passes towards the middle of the field. I see the one to the right and the one to the left of the hash marks. That's close enough for me to be considered the middle. So, I mean, if you want to get technical, we only had 1 pass in the middle. But so I like what I'm seeing, man. And I like that 0 INTs. That is so nice. So nice. And we got to keep it going. I have all the faith in the world that Jalen Hurts is going to keep doing what he's doing. I like the fact that he did not run as much last week, because the less he runs, the less we do RPOs, the more harm we take from him. Hits he's not going to take. Potential hits he's not going to even be in the vicinity. That's what I like to see. Again, teams got to pick their poison. You going to drop back, he going to scoot on you. You going to try to keep him contained, he going to throw it right over your head. So we got that triple threat. And it ain't too many people that can really get with us. Not right now. Game's still about to start. So I'm liking what our Eagles are doing. Next week, again, I'm going to be compiling all the receipts from all that talk from last year, what he couldn't do. I'm looking for all clips. I want to have like a 2-minute reel of nothing but people talking smack on Jalen Hurts and the people that are haters. I don't mind if you have a valid criticism. I do this. People that follow me on my fan page know I try to keep it 100 when we talking football. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're a Cowboys fan or whoever. Keep it real, because that's what I do. I don't watch football. I'm studying football. I'm studying film. I'm trying to look at the fronts. I'm trying to look at individual matchups. That's the type of stuff that matters. I said last week before the Washington game, they had a backup center, and their left tackle was weak. And guess what happened? We killed them in the middle. Jordan Davis had a good game, and BG and Sweat was in their grill all game. That's what you get from film study, not what they saying on ESPN. And to a further degree, not what they saying on NFL Network either. If you're going to watch somebody to watch film, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Check out my dude, Brian Baldinger, one of my teammates when I was with the Eagles. And check out JT O'Sullivan, the QB school, because he breaks down quarterbacks. But again, he keeps it real. You guys have seen, I post this stuff on my Facebook page when he broke down Jalen Hurts. He keeps it real. He tells you the good and the bad, the footwork, and all the kind of stuff that people that don't know football wouldn't think of. Having your hips turned a certain way, your foot placement when you throw the ball, driving through the ball, all of that stuff, what that means. And how Jalen wasn't doing it last year, but is doing it now. You can see the growth. That's the type of stuff I like to see. Our guy is QB number one. Our guy is the guy that everybody's talking about. And it's legit. It's not hype. It's legit. Ooh, I do like them white unis, though. I see you, Cincy. Oh, I do like those white unis. That's what's up right there. And y'all got to understand, when I was a kid watching the Bengals and we had them ugly-ass uniforms, them ugly-ass orange, our uniforms were basically the Browns with Bengals on the side. It wasn't until the 80s when we got the tiger stripes. And we were like, okay, now we look like a team. But we had the Bengals written on the side of the helmet. It was like all that, Our unis used to be the worst. So, proud of my crib. But we got some work to do, man. And the one thing I love about the Eagles right now, as good as they are playing, they are not playing mistake-free football. And what that means is, it's one thing when you're playing good and you're peaking. It's another thing when you're hitting on all cylinders, but when you watch the film, you got so much, your ceiling is still so much higher. You haven't peaked yet. We're still missing throws. The running backs are I saw a couple cutbacks with Miles Sanders where he wasn't wrong. The targeted hole, linebacker came up, he cuts back. The one time he cut it back, he turned a possible no gain into a 6 to 8 yard gain. I think it was like 6 or 7 yards. So he would get a plus on that. The linebacker came through and he cut it back too far. He cut right past the hole and he could have had like a 15-yard run. Like stuff like that. You can always look at something and was like, got to see that better. You can do this better. So there's so much room that we can still grow and get better. We're not playing our best football yet. That's the scary thing. Jalen Hurts is playing at a level right now, but he's not at his ceiling. That's the scary part because he's going to get there. That relationship with him and A.J. Brown is developing the same way that relationship between him and Devontae is developing. I said that backwards. Devontae is getting that relationship like him and AJ. And it's getting tighter and tighter and tighter. And he's getting more comfortable every week he plays. Look how he's throwing that ball up there. I trust that guy to go up and get it. Little things that people don't see. Now he knows. Now he has mental memory, muscle memory. He knows how hard he can throw the ball, and Devontae Smith can go get it. Quez Watkins can go get it. He knows how high he has to throw it. Look at that touchdown in the end zone with Devontae Smith in the left corner. He knows how high he needs to throw it, so only Devontae can get it. Go up and dunk with two hands and come down with the ball. That's exactly what he did. Either Devontae was going to catch it or nobody was going to catch it. Those are the type of mental reps. Those are the type of things that you do to build a relationship with your receivers, your players. And that's when, like I talked about last week, when you get into a zone as a quarterback, as a receiver, as a running back, when you get into a zone and everything slows down, nobody can check you. Nobody. Jesse, I don't think we need a bruiser. I like Miles Sanders and what he does. And I'm saying that my criticism is we need a hard yard. We run nonsense. We're on the goal line and we run a jet sweep. Put Miles back at 6 yards and you come straight down damn hill. Stop running sideways when we got to go forward. You do not run a jet sweep on the sideline when it's 4th and nothing and we're on the 1 yard line going. No, you don't run sideways. You run straight ahead. You go behind Jordan Mailata, Lane Johnson. We got them big. Come on, man. Bring Davis in as a fullback if you got to. The boy run a 4.8 at 360. Bring him in and let him be fullback. I played with the fridge. Use what you got, but don't run sideways. I'm still very critical of our red zone offense and some of the plays we call in short yardage. Some of that stuff don't make sense to me. One of the things, and I could continue to say it, my pet peeve, stop putting our running backs in gun formation when we got to get short yards, hard yards. Let them get ahead of steam going forward, not sideways. So I don't think we need a big bruiser back. I just think we need to run smarter. With our offensive line, we should be able to get 1 to 3 yards with ease. Johnny, Baldy is the professor of the O-line. Baldy's my guy, dude. I love that dude. Where was that question that I saw? Jesse, yeah, the fridge 2.0. Let me say this. Jordan is bigger, stronger, and faster than the fridge ever was. But the fridge was only like 6 foot. But the fridge was like 5 foot wide. When I played with the fridge, he was at the end of his career. He had already done his years in Chicago. I believe he was in his 30s when he was with the Eagles. So he wasn't nowhere near what he was used to be. I mean, the fridge was like, back then, the fridge was like 300-something pounds, 320, and could dunk a basketball, which was unheard of with somebody his size. So Jordan Davis is bigger, stronger, faster. And I still don't think we haven't – he hasn't tapped into that thing yet. When he gets it, he's going to be hellacious. So put him at fullback. I don't care. Do it. Devin Allen to kick punt, return kicks and punts. I wouldn't mind seeing that. The question I have is, has he done it before? Devin Allen has that straight line speed that cannot be denied. And I believe that he will get the opportunity to put that speed in use at some point in time during the year. However, having speed like that has nothing to do with returning kicks and or punts. You got to be shifty. You can't be a straight line runner doing special teams. So I don't know. I would have to see him in some type of practice, or I'd have to see him first before I gave an opinion on that. I would say no, because I've never seen him do it before. Even when he was playing at Oregon, I didn't see him return punts or kicks. Yeah, Johnny, back when special teams, they don't do special teams no more. I mean, it's as a returner, the only thing you have is punt return. There are not many kick returns anymore. All the kickers kick the ball out the back of the end zone. They took away the rules. You don't do no wedges, none of that stuff anymore. So kick returns are an old school concept now. The only time you see kick return is if they short kick it because you're trying to run the clock out, or onside. They don't kick like they used to. They just don't. I mean, yeah. Devin has never returned a punt. Last kick return was 20. Yes, that was a long time ago, bro. That was a long time ago. Yeah, I didn't. If he would have, the way guys are trying to make a squad, if he wanted to do special teams, he would have did it in camp. He'd have been back there return, because there would have been no harm in him going back there just to see if he could do it. But with him not being back there, he had no desire to do it. No desire. Yeah, Justin. Sideways run, man. As a running back and as a coach, that drives me nuts. I mean, if I mean just run off tackle. If you bounce it out, you bounce it out. But not when you're on the 1 yard line. When you're inside the 5, you're supposed to go from guard to guard. Depending on what how your offensive line has been working, you go from guard to guard, or you spread them out. When you spread them out, it makes the D line easier. It takes the pressure off the offensive line, because if you spread them out, if you get good splits on the defense on the goal line, the defense has to spread out with you, or else they could just pinch down and drive you back. So you got to adjust your alignment. So a lot of times they'll spread them out and let the offensive line create holes. But when they bunch up, you're leaving yourself vulnerable outside for a pop pass or a quick slant or even the quick outs, the double move outs. Not to mention the RPOs. It's a big deal when you third and long. But it's a whole other thing entirely when the only thing you got to do is get a yard or 2 yards. That RPO can be dangerous. You saw Jalen Hurts miss the shovel pass to Goddard. That was a walk-in touchdown. I don't know what happened with him. It looked like he thought about keeping it and taking it in himself, and then at the last minute wanted to pitch it, but he did an inside pitch with his right hand going to the right. That made no sense. It'd have been an easy pitch with his left hand. He can do it. He's done it before. I think he confused himself. He was trying to do 2 things at the same time. So that was on him. Jalen Hurts, he screwed that up. That should have been an easy touchdown for Goddard. But yeah, I think Justin, hard yards, honestly, I would bring in either keep Miles Sanders in for those tough yards or bring in Boston Scott. Boston Scott is our best inside runner, period. Boston Scott runs hard. If you want to bring Trey Sermon in or whatever to start letting him do that, then just do it. But I don't like short yardage, and Kenny Gainwell is in. I don't want to see Kenny Gainwell. He don't have enough ass for me. He's too light. And he don't run like you need the low guy. Low man's gonna win. So bring in Boston Scott. If Gainwell's gonna keep running short yardage, Gainwell needs to go over the top. But Boston Scott is that guy that can get those hard yards. Boston Scott runs hard. And he's still fast. And he's still shifty. And he's still strong. So short yardage, he's that guy. If we got a bruiser back, but they don't want to use a bruiser back. You're not going to have a bruiser back and line them up in gun. That's stupid. And that's what I think they would try to do. You don't know. Get him ahead of steam, hand it off, and he's hitting the 1 or the 0 hole right off the center's ass. That's it. But we got to do it. So I don't understand. Like, I still like the idea of putting Big Davis in as a fullback or lining that joker up as a tight end and you crash the left side or the right side. Because if you got something that works, it doesn't matter if they know you're running it. They can't stop it. That's what they do. So we'll see what's going to happen. I do not think the Jaguars will beat us. I think we have a better team. I think we have better wide receivers than their DBs. I think our defensive line is better than our offensive line, particularly, and remember when I said this, so we'll see if it happens. Now, look at Cam Robinson, the left tackle for the Jaguars. He gets beat across his face a lot. He's a pretty decent pass blocker, but if they put a move on him and cross his face, Trevor Lawrence, was in trouble a couple times. And Trevor Lawrence, he hasn't thrown any picks. However, when he's pressured, he is not accurate. I watched the game against the Chargers, and there was a couple of passes where he had guys wide open because he had a little bit of pressure on him and he was moving to the right or to the left. He could not deliver the ball on target. So we got to get some pressure on him and move him out of his spot. You say that against every team, though. You don't want a quarterback to sit back there and just pick you apart because he's comfortable with no pressure. So you can say that about anybody. But looking at the film, he had some open receivers that he just didn't get the ball to. Their receivers are good receivers, and I'll just say they're good. Would I take any of their receivers over A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Quez Watkins? No, I would not. Zach Pascal? No, I would not. Our receiving core is better than their receiving core. Our defensive backs are better than their receiving core. And I believe that. So we just got to put the work in on the field. Let's do what we've been doing. And let's get this win and go to 4-0. And next week, we're going to talk that talk. One way or another. If they lose, we'll talk about how they lose. I don't see them losing. That's my prediction for the game. Jags 24, we get 35. And we put some points on the board in the fourth quarter. So the Eagles are going to take care of business. They're going to continue because we got that guy that's keeping everything. We got the quarterback and the soon-to-be Hall of Fame center keeping everybody on the even keel, keeping everybody focused, and going in the right direction. So I got the Birds handling their business, and we going to talk about this next week when we 4-0. All right? Y'all get out of here. Jump on Amazon Prime, go to the jungle, check out my Cincinnati Bengals as they battle the Dolphins. Let's see what the Dolphins can do now that everybody's watching them. McDaniel ain't no dummy, so he's got some game plans coming. So, but thanks for joining me. I will see you guys next week. Check me out. I got a new YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is just called Pro Fan Talk. I'm trying to create more content so I can get stuff out because Facebook gets weird, and rather than just not deal with it, I would rather just post stuff in one location and then it can filter down to the other spots. So I've only got one thing up. I made one video that I posted. So subscribe. I appreciate it. There's more content to come. A little bit of artwork, a little bit of VR stuff that I'm into, but always with a football spin to it. So we're going to be doing some more stuff in the future. Appreciate you joining me. And I will see you guys next week when we 4-0. Let's go. Go Birds. We out of here. Enjoy the game.